Thanks to COVID-19, this year has been crazy. But despite all the craziness, I am really thankful for the lessons this year has either taught us or reminded us of. One of those lessons is definitely to appreciate the people in our lives. My heart sincerely goes out to all the families that have lost someone this year. And I'd like to take a moment of silence for all those lives that were lost. If you're like me, each year we make these New Year's resolutions and we have these grand ideas of how things we didn't do the previous year will be different this year. That inspiration and excitement are awesome, but I really want us to add a plan to these resolutions. Fail to plan, you plan to fail. In this video, I plan to give you five marriage mindsets, aka goals, you should plan to execute immediately to drastically improve your marriage in 2021. What I pray that you do is that you look at these suggestions as mindsets that create habits that you need to develop in your daily lives. And in other words, if I suggest you listen more and talk less, don't be like, well, I listen more and I talk less today. That's a check. I'm killing these New Year goals. No, don't do that. Instead of that, I want the suggestions that I make get you to consistently do a self-check of yourselves daily until it becomes ingrained into your subconscious behavior. For example, if you're good with money, you're probably constantly checking your account, right? And budgeting and looking for deals and making sure you're not overspending, right? So that's self-checking. I want you to apply that same mentality into the suggestions that I'm going to mention. Now, here are two ways that you could really self-check yourself. One way is to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself if you're really actively trying in the area that you're trying to improve in, right? Be honest with your failures and your successes. And when you fail, don't get discouraged. Just try better the next time. Replay that situation in your mind and think of 2 or 3 positive things that you would have did better. The second way is to tell someone so that they hold you accountable. Tell someone that you trust and you respect and you love to give you constructive, positive criticism that's going to help you improve. So that way you have someone to hold you accountable and someone to say, hey, you did this well, but this area still needs to improve. I hope you don't start dodging that person. Dang it. They calling again. Oh man. Let's jump into the top 5 new mindsets you can develop starting now to improve your marriage in 2021. Mindset number 1, stop thinking of how great you are and start thinking about how you need to work on flaws that you have or imperfections that you have. Wait, what? What you mean? Yes, I know. We rather think about how great we are. I get it. As my Sifu always says, nobody likes to say that their baby's ugly. In other words, we don't like to hear the truth, right? We'd rather hear lies that make us feel good. We don't want to embrace any type of comment or feedback that gets us to think that we're less than. I understand that, but here's the problem with that. When we focus on the great things about ourselves versus what we need to change, our sins, our imperfections, we continue to anger and frustrate and sadden our spouse because what we need to improve on is we're blind to because we're thinking about how great we are, right? And I think personally that our responsibility should be to focus on how we can improve for our spouse, and our spouse's responsibility is to make us feel good about ourselves. Tell us our baby look good if our baby's ugly. Tip number 2, trust your spouse to be your mirror. Look, no one can possibly know you better than you. I get it. You're with you all the time. But if you're in a marriage and you're not in a situation where you have some type of long distance marriage, then your spouse probably spends a lot of time with you too. I bring that up to say this. Sometimes we are not aware of something that we are doing, but they are. Try trusting them to be your mirror. In other words, you know how you have a booger and you're not aware of the booger and you look in the mirror and that's how you're aware of that booger? Well, I often say that a booger is like a flaw that we don't see in ourselves, and our spouse, which is the greatest relationship that we can have on earth, with another human being can sometimes be that mirror and show us that flaw, that imperfection that we don't see. And we need to trust them with that responsibility. We need to trust that they're trying to build us up. Tip number 3, look at problems in the relationships as opportunities to grow, not simply frustrations. Problems suck. Problems can be painful, frustrating, annoying, devastating. I get it. However, if you think of some of the most difficult problems you've had in your life, can't you think of some of those problems somehow, some way improving who you are as a person? I mean, how thankful are you for that change? How good do you feel about knowing that you became smarter, stronger, more patient, more loving because of that problem? Apply that positive outlook to problems you will face in your marriage. Instead of thinking something like, oh no, here comes another problem, think to yourself, what do I need to learn? How can I get better in this area so that it is no longer a problem? I mean, to sum it up, problems present an opportunity for positive change. Tip number 4, say I'm sorry and follow it up with acts by changing your habit. Our usual habit when our spouse points out something in us is to immediately defend. Well, I know I left the fork in the sink, but you put toothpaste on the mirror. Yeah. Instead of doing that, say I'm sorry, then follow it up as soon as you can with an action to correct what you were wrong about. And to be real with y'all, we're being stupid when we don't take correction. Look, I didn't say it. Jesus said it in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 1. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid. I like to think that's how he said it. But look, I didn't say it. Jesus said it. Stupid. But anyways, think about all the stupid arguments we get in simply because we get prideful, we didn't want to be wrong, or we wanted to find some wrong in our spouse because they were correcting us for something. When you feel that urge, stop. Stay silent. Take a deep breath and try to understand where your spouse is coming from. We're not always right. Believe it or not, sometimes our spouses are right too. They're right and we're completely, solely wrong. Don't tell my wife I said that. Tip number 5, pray. What? Yeah, pray. Look, sometimes our imperfections take a while to change. Sometimes some things never change. Sometimes something we want to change in our spouses doesn't need to change, and we're the ones that really need to change. Pray and leave it up to God to know the differences between those type of changes. Pray doesn't seem like an active way to improve your marriage, but I promise you, some of the biggest improvements my marriage has been through has been because of prayer, which is a way that I like to think of sending a direct text message to the creator of marriages. Many problems often work themselves out with us out of the problem, trying to force it to go a certain way. Trust God to change you for your spouse, to change your spouse for you, and to change you too for him. I hope you enjoyed these 5 suggestions. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video with someone you think wants their marriage to improve. For more personal marriage counseling, I'm here to help. Book your session today. The first hour is on me. And remember, a marriage isn't about you. A marriage really isn't about you. It's about you too. God bless.